In this video, we are going to learn how to use archicad and nothing else to create this beautiful sectional perspective drawing. What's going on, everybody? Nathan here at Nathan Studio. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, consider subscribing if you want to see more of content like this. We are going to start from a typical archicad section like this one and add renovation filters. And for those of you who are not familiar with renovation filters, they help us highlight the things which are new in terms of construction and separate them from the things which are existing. And then we will customize just how the renovation filters look by just using the renovation filter settings as well as the 3D document settings to create this beautiful 2D representation, over which we shall mask a few things in order to fine-tune the drawing. And then we will add in some characters which breathe life into the project. So let's get started. In order to explain to you the basics of renovation filters, I have put a link to the video in the top right corner of this video. Go ahead and check it out, and this is what you will go over in that video. We have an existing building here and then we demolish something. So if I go to after demolition, you can see that we removed some of the stuff which was here, enlarged some of the openings in order to create something much better. When I go to proposed renovation here, you can see that there's an extension to this building, which is a beautiful way of working, that we do not have to use different files for the same project. Let's jump to creating the sectional perspective. So in order to do that, we might need to enable the 3D cutaway. So go ahead and enable that. Pick the cutaway from any of the sides. I'm going to pick mine from the left and I'll bring it to a position here, round about here at the beginning, and finalize that. All I need is to be able to cut through the stairs. It's a bit too close. You can always refine it. And now this is more like how I want it to look. So in order to fill you into what is really going on here, for the footing, I used the complex profile, which you can do by going to options, element attributes, and profile manager. So you can see that if I go here and look for something like the wall footing, this profile is what was used to create this, which you can do yourself. And for the walls, I did use the composite settings because we have a brick wall which is plastered both sides with a plaster finish, and that is got from options, element attributes, and composites. So in here, if I get the double plastered wall, this is what you get, and by default it's a much smaller one, but I made it a little bit bigger with a 200mm thick core with some plaster on both the top and the bottom. And for the ceiling, I used the complex profile as well. So if I bring that up, the profile manager, you can see that I have some of that detailing in there. So you can see that this is the profile which I did use for that ceiling. And then we have some cool trusses here which you can create with the truss maker. Just do 2D lines in section, and once you go to design extras, you have a truss maker here which will enable you to make those trusses. And then for the roof here, of course, we have the beams which are made of we have the rafters which are made of the beam tool, and then the roof itself right here, and with some nice detail going on here. So in order for you to achieve this detailing, you may need to have the goodies package installed on your archicad, which is available on the Graphisoft page. And once you have it installed, make sure that you go to the library manager, which is in file, library and object, library manager, install the accessories folder right here. So in the installation folder, be sure to look for here in add and add that accessories folder, and once you have chosen it, you can be able to create this roof, which you do by going to design extras and accessories. So you have it right here, roof accessories. And for my case, I did use something like the trapezoid sheet, which you can see what it looks like. Just in case you want a detailed explanation about any of those components, let me know down in the comments, because I know that this stuff is important if you want to create a nice detailed section like this one. So now that we are much more aware of what is going on here, we want to be able to start the section. So the first step that we need to take is to create the sectional perspective. So right now the lines are not parallel to the ground, so you can see that there's a slight angle, and that's bugging. It's not good. So we need to be able to straighten that out. In order to do that, make sure that, let me zoom out a little bit and right click, go to 3D projection settings. So in the settings, the only thing that you want to be aware of is to make sure you put the same camera Z as the target Z, such that you have the camera facing on a straight line. So I'll make sure that mine, if I choose like a meter here, it should be a meter where the camera is targeting or setting. And one more thing is to make sure that the azimuth is perpendicular to your drawing. So right now it's not. I'm going to make mine, this one is close to 180. I'll make mine 180 such that it's perpendicular. Finally, I can check this to make it a 2-point perspective. Adds a little bit of something that touch that I like, and I say okay. And now we have straight horizontal lines, which we never had before. Pretty cool, huh? At this stage, you want to avoid any kind of scrolling in or zooming in and out. The only thing that you can do though is to pan, which you can do by clicking the middle mouse button. So if we pan, we take the camera either up or down. So right now we are not losing the horizontality which we created, but now we are saying that maybe I need to see more of that flow on the ground floor. Yes, that will do for me, and I'm pretty happy with this. So now I'm going to set this up by right clicking, and I say new 3D document, and now this is the sectional perspective. I always think I'll just add here sectional, and I say create. There we are. We have ourselves a beautiful place to start from, this beautiful basic archicad looking thing. So now we want to be able to overlay renovation filters to highlight the things which were proposed and distinguish them from the existing. And we will do that by bringing in the renovation palette, which you can get in Windows palette and renovation. We will embed it somewhere here, so take it down here and put it there, and we'll change the status from the proposed to new construction. So that is going to help highlight the parts which have been proposed, separating them from the parts which have been not proposed. Now in this drawing you can zoom in and out because it's static, it's not going to change. Right now we want to be able to have some custom pen. We want to choose our own pen as opposed to the default reddish thing that's going on here. So for that we need to go to the renovation filter settings, which you can do by pulling out the document, renovation, and renovation filter options. So these are the options which are going to be helpful. So the renovation filter we chose is the new construction, and under this, what I like to do for this kind of drawing that we're going to do, I like to change the existing from the show, which is there by default, to override, because I want to have some of these things overridden. And that's because there is so much color going on. We have yellow, we have some white and brown. So I want to have that a little bit uniform such that we do not have too much going on in the drawing. Leave everything the way it is, and right here the only thing that I like to change is to come here and scroll down, and under annotations I click do not override the drafting fills and lines, and this is going to help us once we want to draw some things over the drawing, because you know we have a lot of things modeled, but we shall be able to draft something, so you want to check that. And if you're including things like text and labels, you be sure to check that as well. But for the purposes of this video, we are not going to do that. Now we will need to go to the graphic override. So click this icon right here such that we can get to the graphic overrides where the magic happens. So the existing elements, what I do like to change for this particular kind of drawing is to uncheck the fill type, because I want the fills of the existing elements not to be overridden, because we are going to put in some fills on top of this, as you will see. So the next thing that you want to do is, under fill background pen, is to uncheck the override cut fill, because I am going to customize that. Finally, for this, we want to also remove overriding of the surface of the uncut surface here, such that we do not put color into that surface. We will be using the background color. So those are the three things that you need to change on this for now. In case of anything, we can always come back. And the new elements, it's also similar. I don't want to override this fill, because right now we are already overriding it with a particular hash, with a common brick hash, but I don't want to see that. And then next, also we want to be able to remove the cut fill overriding, and also remove the surface override. And particularly the thing that I need us to change is the coloring. So for this particular drawing, I liked the look of blue, so I'll pick a dark blue and a very light blue for the fills, because the fills are going to be on top of the surface, so you want to make them as light as possible. And the background fill is what should be almost like a light blue sky, so I'll pick something that's receded into the background such that it does not compete in the drawing. So be sure to have a sky blue background pen. I'll use 105, and what it will look like, I need it to be a blue, which is a toned down blue in my opinion, which is a glass blue. And those are the things that you need to change in renovation filter options. So I'll say okay, and you can already see what my intentions are. And when I say okay, we wait for it to calculate, and there you are. You can see the magic that is going on here. So already the things are looking super cute, and we want to be able to couple this with the settings of this exact drawing. So when we right click and go to 3D document settings, we can also override the cut fill. So for the cut fill, I'd like to just have a uniform pen. We did choose a blue, so be sure to choose that blue. And maybe for this kind of one, since it's a cut fill, we can choose a blue, another blue which is a bit thicker, and we have that going on. And in the uncut, you want to change that to a uniform pen, because we want to have a background, a uniform background fill for the things which are not cut. And in order to bring up the cover fill, which we see in the drawing that we did make, be sure to check the surface cover fill foreground, such that we have some texturing going on. And this one is transparency, is for being able to see things through the glass, but in this case I have nothing to show. It can stay checked, and that'll be it. So let's say okay and see what happens. Woo! The magic is here. So you can see that the drawing, we have enabled the rendering on these surfaces. There's some texturing on this wall right here, and it's pretty cool. And just one problem that we did create, this stuff is supposed to be existing and not overridden in blue. So in order to do that, let's go back here in renovation filter options, and under graphic override, what we did do for the existing elements is that we unchecked the override cover fill foreground, and we want to put that back such that right now if we say okay and say okay, the existing elements have not been overridden in blue, which is kind of what I needed for this particular kind of drawing. So you can see that the combination of both the renovation filter options and the 3D document settings, we can come up with some particularly informative drawing. So the next step is to hide some things, because we are showing so much below the ground here. So for that, we can pick a fill for drafting. Remember, we enabled that we are not going to override the drafting part, so be sure to choose the polygonal kind of drafting method, and you can also use a draft fill, and be sure to choose any that you want. So for the first layer of the fill, I like to use the background, which is the white background, and I'll draw the shape across this drawing here real quick. Alright, and now for this particular kind of drawing, let's right click, display order, bring it to front. Now we are hiding the things which were terribly looking bad, and we can as well uncheck the cover fill so we don't have things down. But of course, we have created a problem fairly well. We can get a polyline and make sure to have it the kind of color black that we want, black pen that you want, and space click to put it in here. And then we can remove it from the sections which are under the drawing to just have that ground level kind of line there, and there we have it. So this fill is helping us hide the things which we do not want to see in this particular drawing, and that gives us the opportunity to draw the things which we actually do want to see. Yeah, so if I make a copy of this fill, Control D and then Control to have that plus, and we change that to earth right here, you can see that now we have the particular kind of fill that we want to see here, and this can be adjusted if we subtract from polygon any kind of shape that we actually do want to see. For this particular kind of drawing, you will see that right now we have some interesting things going on. So of course you can do a better job than I am doing right now, but that's the idea. So right now we have a beautiful ground floor level, and the final part is to get in a human beings, so characters, to breathe life into the project. So how do we do that? For that, I recommend a site which is pimpmydrawings.com, and under people you can see that you have a lot of things to choose from. It's free, go ahead and check it out, and I do highly recommend it. So for that, I'm going to pick someone who is seated. I think I did see a woman right here, so just click on DWG and you have it downloaded. It will take just a few seconds, and I will open that in the folder, so show in folder, and drag and drop into the archicad file. So just place it and skip all this other stuff. So to use it, we must explode it into current view. So right click, explode into current view, enter. And right now we can delete this background and we have this character. So the only issue we do have with this thing, if I make a copy and put it somewhere like here, and let's right click, display order, bring it to front, a couple of things are going on here. One, the scale is wrong. Secondly, we can be able to see a lot of things through this. We are seeing so many things. So how do we fix that? We need to put a fill behind the person, and then again we need to change these pens to what we want to have them, and then we can scale it up. So let me delete this and go and we work from here. So I want to be able to put a fill on this, so the way I like to do it, let me get a mark U and mark U across here, and I like to get the pen around the building, which I can see that this is pen 200 and it's different from the pen within, which is pen 180. If I do suspend group, I can be able to select. If you get this find and select on the standard toolbar, you can be able to add here. you can see that everything that's in the marquee will be selected, but also you can be able to add a pen. So I'll go get a pen here under floor plan and section. When I add that, so now I can look for pen 200, which should be here. So when I say plus, you can see that that has been selected. So right now I can, for example, group that such that it's easy for me to select it once again. So Ctrl G to group that. So I can also pick a copy, put it here, and put a fill in because I need a fill. So space click to put a fill. Not easy to find, but I'll keep adding sections in order to have it fully selected on all sides, and also subtract in areas where it shouldn't be. Alright, so now the shape is out, and we want to be able to use that, so we'll put it back in here. Display order, send to back. One more thing, send backward again. So one more thing, we want to be able to select the polyline, our polyline, and I like to change this to red. So now we have control and we can change that to red. And for the inside part, which we can select here by selecting the pen, which is this one, plus here to make that selection. And I like to make this a lighter red, so I'll pick something like this, and that is looking good. So let's group this thing by Ctrl G, bring Ctrl D to drag this guy, this lady, onto this position. Right click, display order, bring to front, and now we have her there, but we have the fill coming on top, which is pretty annoying. So right click, display order, send backward to have the right things in the foreground. And now let's select everything and Ctrl K to scale, and right now we can give her the right kind of scale. Yeah, go ahead and give her into the place. But that's what you need to do in order to add the human beings. And let me know down in the comments whether you like this kind of drawing, because I dig it so much. So thank you so much for watching. See you next time.